Some may remember Elizabeth Parsons for her role as editor for City magazine and the Blue Ridge Business Journal, but now she's putting a degree in cultural anthropology to good use as Director of Development for Casito Healthcare International. The Roanoke-based organization is helping to bring improved medical care to impoverished parts of Africa these days. Parsons has been to Ethiopia, where Casito International, an offshoot of Casito Healthcare, is building a hospital. The World Health Organization estimates that in Western Ethiopia, only one doctor exists for every 35,000 people. The startup nonprofit would like to expand its impact around the globe. Elizabeth Parsons, welcome to the interview.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Talk about how Casito Healthcare International got its start, I guess about 5 years ago, as an offshoot of a company that provides rehabilitation services domestically.
Yes, we have a very unique model. We've been around for over 20 years, and we are a nonprofit, but our domestic arm that's been around for the 20 years has 8 award-winning nursing homes and rehabilitative centers. So the closest one to this area would be the Bryan Center in Fincastle. But probably about 10 years ago, our leadership got involved in small sort of mission sort of trips and helping people in the developing world, whether it was in orphanages or nursing homes throughout the world. And Africa started about 5 years ago, where we were sending medical supplies, and eventually we were asked to build a hospital, and that was kind of the genesis of our African operations. And it's really exploded from a few little side projects here and there to a full-fledged major operation. We serve over 120,000, mostly women and children in Africa.
In Ethiopia and Uganda?
Yes,
okay.
And we're actually looking at expanding into South Sudan and Somalia.
You have a master's in writing. You edited a couple local magazines at one point. You even did some work for the Grammy Awards. Talk about this career shift for you, Elizabeth, and how it's been rewarding for you.
Sure. Well, I feel in a way my life has always been going in this direction. I remember in the 80s when I was a child of the 80s, when the Ethiopian famine occurred, and I remember digging through my mom's purse, much to her dismay, and going and picking out all the change around the house and collecting it and sending it over to Ethiopia. Now, whether it got there or not, I don't know, but I would decorate the outside with pictures. I'm kind of artsy-fartsy that way. And so I always wanted to do something helping people in the developing world, and I come from a very sort of international family. My one brother lives in Africa right now and another in Spain, and my mom grew up in Japan. But I went to writing because I've thought that's also been a passion, and I came back to Roanoke to get my master's in writing and found this job as luck would have it. And actually, when I went to the interview, I called my mom right after, and she was like, "Do you think this is a scam?" Because it sounded just too perfect for me. So I've been really blessed with this position.
And you've been to Ethiopia, where you're building a hospital, I guess.
Yes.
And talk about that and what kind of an eye-opener that was for you. And of course, you had to endure 16-hour drives on a bumpy, rutted road to get there. But just talk about the people you met. And really, there's very little health care for some of these folks in Western Ethiopia.
Yes, actually where we are building this 40,000 square foot hospital in Western Ethiopia, it's very remote. It's even remote by Ethiopian standards. People, essentially, if you got sick, you would pray that it would go away. You might go to a traditional healer. If you were a woman giving birth, you'd also pray that went okay. There's actually a saying in that area that a pregnant woman has 1 foot in the grave. So there was really nothing. And we were just so moved by the needs there and just seeing people die from things that just
like childbirth.
Childbirth, diarrhea, very simple things that we might, we would easily get care for. So. We just had to help.
I know you're also working in Uganda at a clinic there, and one thing you've told me is that it works better when Casito can work in tandem with local governments, where they're not seeing you as some agency just coming in from some other country to impose your will. Talk about that a little bit.
Sure. Well, in both Uganda and Ethiopia, all of our all of our in-country staff are Africans, from the area. We've seen a lot of sort of mission-oriented projects where, for example, a group might come in and donate a bunch of medicine, or a surgical camp might happen where surgeons from the U.S. will go over and perform needed surgeries, and those are wonderful. But the problem is the needs are so incredible that once you leave, it goes all back to the same.
Right.
So we really wanted to integrate with government and help strengthen their existing system. So it's African-run, African-led. We're just kind of empowering them to treat their own people.
Teaching them the fish.
Exactly.
Instead of
teaching
handing
them
them
to
the fish, right.
Exactly.
And Casito, I guess Casito Healthcare International, you're funded to a large extent by your domestic operations, but you still need to raise money for what you're doing over there?
Absolutely.
And how do you do that?
Well, I ask people for money. We work with a lot of churches. There's a lot of people of faith in this area that are very committed to working overseas and helping the poor. So we get support through churches and also individuals who have a heart to help out but maybe aren't in a position to go over and give direct medical care.
Right.
So we've been really lucky in that way. We've found a really great response in the Roanoke Valley especially.
And people can go to the website to find out about how to donate.
Absolutely, okay. CasitoInternational.org.
Okay, and I just a couple minutes left. Let's talk about some of the work being done by Casito employees and people that have volunteered for Casito in Uganda and Ethiopia. The long hours these people are putting in. A lot of these people, most of them, if not all of them, must be really dedicated to the mission.
Absolutely. We can't have people go over who just kind of want to have fun. It absolutely is fun, but you're working 12, 14-hour days, whether you're a medical person or non-medical person. The needs are just so incredible that we love to have volunteers, but they really have to have a heart for it. And you see things that you certainly wouldn't see here. You might have, for example, if you're a nurse, and this just happened to us 2 weeks ago, a baby died in her arms. And thank goodness we don't really see that very much in the U.S., but it's difficult work.
I know you were telling me, we got about a minute left, when you were over in Ethiopia, you met a lot of good people, a lot of people who maybe are misunderstood, but a lot of good people, families that just need some help. Absolutely,
yeah. There are, we always say that despite the fact that Ethiopians in the kind of hinterlands and the rural areas, they literally have nothing, they might not even have shoes, they are just the happiest people on earth. And so it's really a joy to help them get needed health care, because that's really, I would say, the number one concern for them is they just want to live, and they're like a lot of people in this area. They're farmers, they're simple people, they're good people, they're people of faith, but your child gets sick, you have to worry about him or her dying. Right. So it's very tragic.
Right, we'll have to leave it there. Elizabeth Parsons from Casito Healthcare International. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Our guests today have been Ted Edlick from TAP and Elizabeth Parsons from Casito Healthcare International. I'm Gene Marrano. You can look for me in the Roanoke Star Weekly, Valley Business Front, and in Play-by-Play magazine. And you can listen for me on Fox Radio 910 AM's Roanoke This Week on Saturday and Sunday mornings. And don't forget, you can watch segments of the interview online at YouTube. Just search by my name. Until next time, take care.